Hello and welcome to today's video. I know it's been a while we came to you with our trainings. We had a bit of setback, and not just that, I had a few weeks to rest, also plan for my younger sister's wedding. So that is the reason why I haven't come to you all this while. But we are here, and like we promised, we're supposed to give you the part two of the personality building video, Avolite Personality building video. Apologies for my pronunciation, so just bear with us, bear with me rather. So this video is going to be a bit longer. If you've not seen the part one of the video, I would recommend you go and see the part one of the video. That it's a more shorter video, more concise video. It gives you an idea of what we've been doing, and what has brought us to where we are now, what we want to do. So as it is like a follow-up to the other video, which of course I'm going to put the you're going to see, just go and check it out. Basically go and check out the video later, or probably go and see it before you come and continue with this one. I think you should see the video first, then you will come and continue with this particular video. All right, so this is a more comprehensive Avolite personality profile that we want to build, because we're going to have more details, unlike the first one that we did, which was just like a quick build that didn't have so much detail, just the basic information that you need to have your lights patched on the Avolite console. This particular one is more detailed. You have more information in the attributes, so that it will be easier for you to walk around. So, and I want you to stay to the end, watch to the end of the video, because towards the end of the video I'm going to be teaching you how to have different modes, what you can do so that you can have different modes. So if you want to do separate the channels, if you observe that there are sometimes you want to patch a fixture, you have options to choose different channels of the light that you want to patch it. For instance, a light has 24 channels, 16 channels, and probably 12 channels, and you have the option of choosing the particular channel you want to use to run your show. So the ability for you to choose those different channels was made possible by the way they developed the profile. So it gives you the ability, depending on the type of console or what you're running. If it's not a very serious event or stuff, you can just use lower channel. When you want to have the full operational capability of the fixture, you go for the bigger channels. So I like you to stick to the end of the video. It's going to be quite much longer video, so kindly be patient and watch. So towards the end of the video, you're going to find out how to do the mode and be able to separate the channel, and then it gives you the options to pick the channel you want to patch your lights with. So without further ado, let's begin. So this was the old one we did, so we'll just, for you to start, you click on file, say new. Now obviously, as you can see here, we have a new page or new file to begin with. So with that will come display name. Let us call it let it be display name, let us call it BM 230. Let's use a 230. Manufacturer is Onyx. Okay, name of the fixture, that is the when you're searching for the fixture, what name after you've entered the fixture. What you remember, when you're patching, you click on patch and then select fixture. When you select fixture, you'll be asked to search the manufacturer. So the manufacturer going to search will be Onyx, and then the fixture name you are now going to search later on, that's what we want to impute here. So we can call it let's just call it a bad boy. Let's call it bad boy 230. Okay, so that is bad boy 230. We'll come to the physical, we'll change it to moving hand, and I come to the bulb, I give it 230 watts. So now every other one, we'll just leave it to remain the same, nothing much You can add more detail if you want, but for now you can leave it to be the way it is. All right, so we go ahead and physical, of course we've done that. The attributes now, I'm going to, so the attributes, we first attribute on, this is for the purpose of this video, this is a 16 channel light, 16 channel beam, 230 watts. So that is what we're working with right now. So the first attribute that we have is the color. I select the color. The second attribute is the shutter, which is also known as a strobe. The next attribute is the dimmer. The next attribute is the gobo. Okay. The next attribute is the prism. Then okay, that's prism. That's the fifth attribute. The sixth attribute is the prism rotate. The next attribute is the 7 colorful. So there's nothing like that normally, so we just use generic and we rename it to be 7 colorful. All right, so the next would be frost. That is the next attribute that we have in our manual. Remember, we're working with the manual of the light. Frost is next. The next is focus. The next is pan. Yep, that's pan. Remember, now the next is tilt. And there's something I said, I tried to make us understand the last time, that when a fixture has pan fine and tilt fine, there is a way to do it. Is in the other video. I wouldn't want to probably take so much time on this anymore, because I already explained that in the other video, so that this video doesn't become so long. So you can go back and watch the part 1 of this video. This is the part 2. all right. So because it has pan fine and tilt fine, there's something we're going to do which we explain in the other video, so go watch the video. So we'll move on to the next attribute, which is speed. That is the speed. Yep, the speed. Then for the reset, we'll pick control. I'm going to use 2 control buttons, first control and second control. First control is the reset. Okay, the next control is the lamp. All right. Okay, so we go ahead to, now that we've listed all of this, we'll start adding the internal attributes, which are the functions of these attributes. The functions, what are these attributes that were added, what are they going to be doing at the end of the day? So that is what we're going to do. It doesn't stop here, it doesn't end here. So we need to start adding the functions of these attributes. And if you check here, that is what is written here. We'll have attributes, we'll have the functions, that is what these attributes are going to be performing. So you will have the created attributes, all the attributes that we've created here, then the created functions, which we're going to do, we're going to find it here. And of course, history, all the things we've done, the modes, the macros, if we need to add macros, then they will be there, the palettes, the swatch. So remember, we can always interact. If there's anything you find confusing, leave it in the comment section and just leave your questions, and we'll definitely respond to you. All right. And I just want to also use the opportunity to make a quick announcement, just as you guys have been requesting. A couple of you from the comment section have been requesting for some personal classes, where we understand, we see your comments, and we're working on that. So just stay with us. Very soon we're going to roll out the personal classes. So I would like you to turn on the notification bell, so that you would be the first to know when that information goes out, and you will not miss out on our personalized trainings when we begin it. All right, so let's continue with the video. Right, so now, like I said, this is a more detailed video, so we're going to be adding each of the attributes, and I'm going to be telling you how we're going to do all of the things we need to do here. All right, so we would add different colors here. Then so the first color we have is white. Okay, so I'm not going to use any of these colors in here. I'm just going to use raw DMX, and I would change I'll change the DMS values and their names, just customize it to what we want it to be. Okay, the next, so this mouse wants to act up, but we move on. So this will be white. Okay, so this is going to take a bit of time, so just stay. Have white plus color plus color 1, then go ahead. So this will be color 1. The next will be this video is going to be very long, I know, and I know when you're watching very long videos like this, sometimes you may tend to miss and forget a few things. Feel free to rewind the video and make sure you watch the video to the end, that way you don't miss anything. Feel free to go back and rewatch it so that anything you would have missed, you would get it. All right, so we've done color 1 plus color 2, so the next, of course, you should know, will be color 2. So color 2. I'll just speed up this part a little bit so that you would not have to we don't have to bore you so much with it. Now we're not done with that, the color area, so we'll go back and start adding. So we'll go to the channels, we'll go to DMS values here. The DMS values, we are going to start adding the beginning, the start, and the end. Do you get that? So we need to assign the DMS values. So from what point to what point, at what DMS value? Remember, every attribute has a DMS value total of 255. So for color, there will be ranges of values that is going to make up different colors from 0 to 255. So from what point to what point, from what DMS value to what DMS value are we going to find white? From what DMS value to what DMS value are we going to find red, and so on. So that is what we want to do now. So from the manual that we have, we'll have it that from 0 to 4 is white. The next will be 5 to 9. So I want to do the way I usually do it, just to speed it up. I'll do the first row, just use it, and then do the first row, the next one, then I do the next row. All right, so the next is 9, sorry, that will be 5 rather. 5, 10, 15, 20, on this other row I have 4. The next would be 9, 14, 19, 24, 29, 34, and so on. Okay, so the attributes there has all to be assigned to DMS values. So we'll go back to the channels, properties rather. So the shutter, we add, the first is open, which is no function. The next is strobe from slow to fast. We'll have strobe from slow to fast, which is percentage. We can use this, which is from slow to fast, and then we'll have another open. Then we'll have pause. Open, we'll have pause strobe. So, and then we'll have open again, and then random, and that will be all. We'll have open. So we'll go back to the DMS values and impute the DMS values. All right, so first is 0, next is 4, next is 104, next is 108, 208, 213, and finally for that attribute 252. The next will be the end DMS. It will be 4, will be 3 respectively, 103, 107, 207, 212, 251, and 255. So all these things are not in this first video. Like I said, that first video was a quick build. This is a more comprehensive build. That is why we're taking our time to add all this information that we have. So the dimmer we have is just one, so everything is just one. I usually like to use the generic percentage dimmer. So DMS value is 0 to 255, so that is what it is. So global we add so for the global we have different globals here. We have this on the manual is called white, but I just leave it as open because when it opens on white, so I just leave it as open. There's no need for me to rename that. Then we'll have global 1, global 2 to global 13 and other things. So we'll do, let us add global 1, global 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the other 13, I'll just rename it to be 14, right? And we'll have the anti-clockwise from fast to slow, the clockwise from fast to slow. So then we'll have stop, which is no scroll, slow to fast, no, this is not what I want. Maybe this is slow to fast. We'll have shakes, shake 1, shake 2, you know, all of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move on to, that will be it for this. Remember, the DMS values has to be all added. I just say auto assign. Now, one thing you should notice, when you say auto assign, it may not be the correct thing all the time. You always need to go back to your manual and make sure that the end value, the start and end value, is the same as it is in your manual. So sometimes it may not work accordingly, sometimes it works, sometimes it may not be. So always make sure to cross check from your manual to be sure that the end value and the start value as it is here corresponds with what you have in your manual. Otherwise, your personality library may not perform well. Okay, so the next would be the prism. So prism, we have open and we have prism. So the MS values would be, I will also assign it. In this case, it's perfect. The first is 0 to 127, and then the next is 1 to 8255. That is how I have it in my manual. So we'll move on to prism rotate. Prism rotate, we have the angle. So I like to use usually I like to use open for this, or sometimes I like to use no spin, but in this case I will just use open for it. So I can rename it to angle. Angle. So yeah, so the next would be clockwise rotate. This is clockwise rotate from fast to slow. Yes, this is it. Then the next would be stop. That will be no spin. Next would be anti-clockwise rotate from slow to fast. That is it, what we have here. So we go to the DMS values. I will auto assign, and as I auto assigned it, it didn't correspond properly, so I will have to make some corrections here. So what I have, because the first one is 0, the next is 128, the next is 188, and the next is 196. The NDMX are 127 followed by 187 and 195 and 255. So that is it. That we're good with that. The next is 7 colorful. 7 colorful we have no and the 7 colorful. So in this case, because we use a generic attribute, so we'll have safe. So I'll call this no. No. And the next would be 7 colorful. I will just pick usually I would let me just pick macro 1. Yeah, anyone could do, but the reason I picked this is because of I want it to just be a value. I don't want numbers attached to it, so that is just what it's going to be. So I call this 7 colorful as it is in the manual. So DMS values, of course, auto assign. This one corresponds. So for frost, the same thing. Properties, I have safe, which is no, and frost. So for the frost, pay attention to all that we're doing so that you don't miss anything. Focus, properties, focus is just 1, so I use the focus. Okay. Then the pan and tilt. For pan is a 16-bit pan. It's a 16-bit pan. So we'll have it because we'll have pan tilt. Pan fine and tilt fine. That automatically tells you that this fixture is a 16-bit pan and a 16-bit has a 16-bit pan and it has a 16-bit tilt. So you would want to, for you to accommodate the pan fine and tilt fine, you use 16-bit. I explained this in the last video, in part 1. And the speed. Okay. Speed is fast to slow, and I will just use raw DMX for this and call this fast. Fast to slow. Okay. Then reset. Remember, I picked the controls. I picked the control attribute for the reset. This is what I picked. This control for the reset and the lamp, because that is what works with it. Reset. So the functions would be, the first is no, so nothing happens. I leave it as safe. The next will be reset after seconds, so that will be reset all. So everything resets. Then we go to the DMS values and go to assign it. However, it is not the correct DMX values. The end here is just 25, and this one here starts from 26. So from 26 it resets. So as simple as that. We'll go back to the properties. Now the lamp, I also used control for the lamp, and the first attribute we'll have here is safe. I want to call this no. And we'll have lamp off and lamp on, lamp off, lamp on. DMS values are 26 and 101. The next is 100 and of course 255. Alright, so this is what would have to be a comprehensive build. We'll have all the details, unlike the first one which was a quick build. We'll have every detail that that the light comes with, all the functions all separated, and you can look at it and it's well explanatory, just as you would find in the ones that were built by the original light manufacturers, those companies. So that is what we're trying to achieve. Now remember, I told you that we can do something with the mode. If for instance this fixture has two modes, this is a 16 channel light and it has 16 channel and probably has, let's say, 12 channels. We can choose the things we want to be in the 12 channels. So what we're going to do now is to create the mode so that if we want to use different channels and to control it, we can do that. We can pick different channels. So I want to pick mode 1 and mode 2. So my mode 1 would be I'll call this 16 channels. 16 channel. Mode 2, let me call it 12 channel, for instance. So what I'm going to do is 16 channel, I'm going to add the 16 attributes that will be controlled by the 16 channel. Don't forget that the channel just speaks about the number of attributes that are controllable, that can be found in those fixtures. That is what this channel is all about. So if a fixture has 16 channels, it means it has about 16 attributes available for you to use. If it has 32, it means it has 32 attributes available for you to use, and all of that, and so on. The number of channels determine the number of attributes that it has. So for this mode 1 that I've called 16 channel, I want to make available 16 attributes to be used. Then for the 12 channels, I just want about 12 attributes, maybe the 12 important ones that I would like. So but note, this attribute must be put accordingly. Do you understand? So it has to be in accordance to how it was arranged in your manual. You don't just put them anyhow and then expect that they would work. So for this, let me rather call it 14 channels. Oh, this is channels. This is 13 channels rather. So I'll call it 13 channels rather instead, because that is what it is. So 13. Okay, so that is what the light has. So I don't need the speed, the reset, and the lamp on and off for this particular one, and that will be it. So there you have it. I have my 16 channels and then I have my 13 channels. Anyone I wish to use, I would use to control the fixtures. So we'll now go to the wheel mapping area. Now 16 channels, as you can see, the channels here is up to 16. I believe you can see that it's 16. Then the wheel mapping, we map filter by 16 channels, 13 channels, I filter by 13 channels. So let me go back to 16. That I have the 7 colorful, which is the control area. So I want to put this reset in the special. Very beam. So okay, let me keep this here because of where I want this to be. So you just map this according to how you want it to, where you want these things to be on your console. But by default, some things are just supposed to be in where they're supposed to be. The dimmer, you cannot put it anywhere else if it is not around the dimmer wheel. So the pan, same, just leave them. But a few other attributes, you can move them around, maybe where you want them, how you want them, the area. You can customize it however you want. All right, so that way, so I'll allow custom wheel to be like this. Then locate value. So when I locate this fixture, what happens? When I look at it, it means the shutter, of course, it will not come up. There's not going to be any strobing or anything to just open. So that is what I'm trying to say. The wheel, the pan will be at 50%, the tilt will be at 50%, the focus, of course, at 50%, and all of that. So highlights. When you highlight the fixture, what happens? In my next video, I'm going to be telling you what your highlight button does. I'm going to be teaching you that on your console. So watch out for that video, look out for it, turn on your notification bell so that you can have an idea, immediately get the notification when we release that video. So you know what that button on your console, on your Avolite console does, the highlight button, what it does for you. It's also a very important button there. So when we power on, what happens? Of course, everything is at zero. Your tilt, everything is zero, 50%, and all of that. Then when you locate, your dimmer comes to 100. You get that? So when you clear, everything clears out. All right. So that is what it's all about. So these cells is used for some fixtures that have different cells, like some of your those BI that have different eyes, and your wall washers, that have different cells for pixel mapping and that. So with that, we've actually done a comprehensive build of a library of an Avolite personality library that you can use to patch the fixture that you are building for. Of course, when you can find it on your console for patching. So this is comprehensively what you have. All right, I'll be expecting your questions, and leave your comments on the comment section, and do well to subscribe to our channel. If you like content like this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like this video, so that YouTube can show this video to more persons that would really want to learn. I believe that there are several persons. That is the major thing that informed me to start making this video. I received several notifications, people asking me that they want to learn this, want to learn that. That is the reason I started doing this. So when you like this video, it's going to show it to those people that really wish to learn this, so that we can build an industry of trained personnel where people actually know what to do, and it will be easy for us to operate. So subscribe to this channel, like this video, share the video to your friends and family, and then turn on the notification bell, so that whenever we post a new stuff, you will be the first to get notified about it. So the last thing we're going to do, of course, is you need to save whenever you're done. Now, if you're building from now, you have different saving options here. If you're doing this build, I want you to note that your Avolite console has this software. Although I'm building this from my computer, you can also use your Avolite software to build. It has in your Avolite console, this software is embedded in it. All you need to do, go to tools and then go to additional programs. You will find Avolite Personality Builder. So for instance, if you're building with the Avolite console, if you built this app, or if you did this programmed all this not app, sorry about that, you programmed this personality profile, this thing with the console, and you don't have to save it somewhere else. All you need to do is you can save it directly to the fixture library. But when you build with your laptop or any other platform, you save as, of course, you call it, the name is already there, and I prefer to save it on my desktop, so that I can just use the flash drive. I'll copy it, then of course now paste it on my console later when I need it. So that is the other saving options that we have. So we use save as, so that we put it on our desktop, use our flash drive, copy it, and then upload it on our console from our flash drive when we need to do that. Otherwise, if you're building from a console, just use save to fixture library, and it will directly save it to your fixture library. You just need to, when you patch, just go search it with names that you've built it. So never forget the names that you use in building your library, because that is what you're going to use to patch the fixtures when you're searching. All right, so I save it, and voila, it's been saved. Thank you so much for joining us in today's class. I'm going to see you in our next video. So till next time, keep learning, keep building, and remember, lighting is an art, so ensure to always create. So let's paint. Join me always. Ciao, bye.